You are tuned into Plática de Práctica, a podcast for teachers, by teachers in visual and performing arts classrooms. Our guests will share insights, their challenges and triumphs, along with tips and tricks to navigate the contemporary creative classroom. I am your host, Renee Palomares, a resource teacher for the Albuquerque Public Schools Fine Arts Department. We are coming to you from the beautiful Albuquerque Museum, located in historic Old Town Albuquerque, New Mexico. Welcome to Plática de Práctica. Welcome back to another episode of Plática de Práctica. On this episode, we welcome Karen and Ceinwen from Albuquerque High School. Karen serves as department leader as well as photography teacher, and Ceinwen currently serves as her student teacher. We discuss the importance of trying as an educator and work on an age-old drawing technique, the blind contour. The artwork in this episode is by Raymond Jonson, titled Carlsbad Trilogy, and that can be found in Gallery 4 at the Albuquerque Museum. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Of course, I had to be obnoxious. I couldn't think of one teacher because, I'll be honest, I didn't really like school growing up. I'll just start with that. So I wrote an open letter to former teachers of all kinds from a curious but lackluster student. So to all of my art, music, shop, home ec, and dance teachers and bosses, thank you for demonstrating creativity and resourcefulness and the power of making things. To the K-12 teachers who noticed me at all, even to call me out for reading a novel during a science lesson, thank you for seeing me. And to my colleagues at APS who teach and inspire me every day. And also I want to thank Maria Montessori, from whom I learned that to follow the child, and also that the classroom environment is like the second teacher. And that's something that's really inspiring to me and I've taken with me. So.
Awesome. My letter is to Mrs. Townsend, who was my high school teacher. She taught weaving and basketry and just kind of really started the art program at my school. And she also happened to be one of my kindergarten teachers. So I got to spend this time both in early childhood and in my teenage years. And she's been a mentor kind of past college as well, or high school, excuse me. So I say, dear Miss Townsend, when I take stock, I see that so much of what I aim to do and what is most important to me in my own art teaching practice was exemplified in your teaching throughout the years that you taught, cared for, guided, and offered materials and practice. From gentle caregiving, loving, play-based learning and exploring materials through molded beeswax, making soup, natural materials, and storytelling, you tended our start of learning as a place of cultivating imagination and exploring through the senses. In high school, you opened our worlds with new materials, real materials, and to traditional processes, expanding my view of art and artists in the world, through the world of making. You created space for a real weaving studio atop a Hispanic community cultural center in the heart of the mission, as well as a basketry studio. You gave us agency through the realness of the materials and the freedom to explore and gain our own confidence in process and materials. I was not a model student, but in your classroom, I found a haven, a place to feel safe, grow my confidence, to create and experiment. These materials you introduced were a seed for a line of inquiry through textiles and weaving and connection between tradition and contemporary practice that has followed me ever since. After getting my BFA and returning home, I was once again unsure of where to go, what to do with myself. You once again offered me a safe place to be, helping in your 9th grade basketry class. There are many threads that led me to pursue a path in as an art educator, but you are most certainly one of them, and most definitely a role model that I'm incredibly grateful for. Thank you for all that you have done for me, for every way you helped care for me, all you exposed me to, and gifted me through creativity and making.
Well, I want to thank you so much, both of you, for joining us and sharing your letters. And I'm always curious to see who sends their episode out to their teachers, or in your case, well, it's open to everybody. But
everyone's a teacher.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to this episode for a variety of reasons. There's connections that we've had I feel like both of you have seen me teaching or been in my classroom, and I've been in your classroom. So this is like the first group of guests that I have that connection with. A lot of our guests I've never either fully met or only spent like a little bit of time with or in their classroom. So yeah, so I want to start by maybe introducing yourselves and letting us know. Yeah, it's a special episode because we have teachers at different points of their career. So yeah, I'll start with you, Ceinwen.
Okay. I'm Ceinwen Carrejo, and I am currently a student teacher with Miss Mazur, and I am also a UNM graduate student in the art education program. This is my last semester, so I hopefully will be graduating in December. Yeah. Yes, I will be. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm Karen Mazur. I teach photography and computer graphics at Albuquerque High School. This is my 5th year at Albuquerque High, and I've been in art education kind of on and off for the past 20 years or so, but really I worked as a freelance designer and photographer for about 25 years before I started teaching. So I kind of came to teaching later in life.
Yeah. Remind me what you were doing before Albuquerque High.
Actually right before Albuquerque High. So I also graduated from the UNM art education program, but while I was there, I also did a minor in museum studies, and I had a fellowship at the Center for Southwest Research, as well as running the gallery. And you ran the gallery, Maisley Gallery too. I was doing a survey of all the public artworks on UNM's campus. So right after I graduated, I didn't go straight to teaching. I worked for a couple of years for the City of Albuquerque Public Art Program. And, that's awesome. And I came to teaching from that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is interesting. I just realized too the connection of the gallery aspect.
Yeah, I kind of forget that sometimes too.
Yeah. Are you still doing the Maisley stuff? Or?
No, I did it up until I started student teaching.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Maisley Gallery is obviously a gallery housed in the art ed kind of building at UNM. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are you guys up to working together, collaborating on at Albuquerque High right now?
Well, we have, we're not doing too much extra in terms of both of us together. So we're just teaching. We have a lot of really young students this year. So we're doing a lot of kind of figuring out human development. And in school, we're still sort of, it's the beginning of still kind of the beginning of the year. So we're really getting into the routines of the classroom. Ceinwen has been taking over a lot of the classes, but we're really kind of a unit. We're really co-teaching, I feel like. So it's a little bit different than even when I was a student teacher. Because it was a lot more separate. Like I don't remember my student teacher mentor sharing lessons or anything like that, but we just kind of have a collaborative folder in Google Drive and kind of push stuff back and forth we're doing a lot of problem solving, I guess. Yeah.
And I think Albuquerque High is known for being a hub for student teachers. I remember a couple student teachers in my time there. And I think it's a good place to kind of take your knocks a little bit before you actually enter the classroom, because honestly, the variety of content that is taught, right? I mean, one of the only jewelry programs in the city.
Yep.
Photo. You have the dark room.
Yep.
Painting and drawing. Obviously, David's always doing his murals.
Right.
So there's like the mural culture there. So yeah, and then you throw in the music stuff too, and the mariachis, and there's a rich culture of art there.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
It's pretty great. We just started a screen printing program too. Right, so we're kind of trying to work that in. So we've always had an art club, but we trying to expand that this year into being more of like a open studio time. So all of us art teachers are there after school on Wednesdays, and we all just kind of open up our rooms and students try different things that they're interested in. So I've recruited through that. I've recruited a screen printing apprentice who's going to sort of help me with the orders as we do things for other groups in the school.
Awesome. And that's a student apprentice?
Yes. Awesome. So that is the goal with that, is to like get students running that program on their own.
That's awesome.
And so then we charge our colleagues at the school and we get to keep the money for our art department.
I'm just catching myself saying that's awesome. And I consciously told myself that to be careful with that's awesome because I watched our last episode and I feel like Patrick needs to put like a that's awesome counter like on the screen. I probably hit maybe about 15, 20. But so yeah, I'm like, I heard myself say that and I was like, well, it is awesome. But so no, that's great. And then Ceinwen, I mean, what has been your highlight, I guess, for being at Albuquerque High or just in general, because I know the kids loved having you when you would visit my classroom.
Oh, thank you. It was such a great experience doing my practicum with you. It's been a really great experience for me at Albuquerque High. Definitely the medium outside of like my kind of initial comfort zone, being in photography and computer graphics. But it's been such an awesome opportunity for me to get to know some new materials. A teacher and a learner at the same time, absolutely. And also the cyanotypes was something that was really fun that we got to do and kind of connected with my own capstone project as well for at UNM.
Yeah. Now, to correct me if I'm wrong, can you use turmeric with like cyanotypes?
Yes, it's called an anthotype when you use other kinds of materials, other kinds of like natural chemicals. Yep.
Because I saw some cyanotypes in Santa Fe recently at the state conference for NMAA, and they were bigger, and I was just like, oh, those are really cool. And as you're mentioning that, I'm thinking like I saw something online about it, but
some of our advanced students recently did a project where they tried different types of alternative processes. So we had one student, she hasn't quite finished it yet, but she was trying to do like a salt print, which is like a very pre-silver print process from way back in the day. And then somebody did a cyanotype on glass, which was fairly successful and enough successful that we learned how to make it better. So it was a lot of problem solving and kind of experimentation.
Over the summer, I tried like bleach dyeing, like a hoodie. So I dipped leaves in like bleach and I let them sit for a couple of hours. But anyway, that made me think of that. Yeah, that's awesome that you guys are giving kids opportunities to try things and explore. And I feel like that's kind of in the culture of Albuquerque High.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of no's. It's like, we'll figure it out.
That's very true. And in fact, that kind of, we have with our advanced students, we're planning a exhibit and it's going to be we just got a date for it. So January 16th is going to be the opening of this. It's a new multi-generational center, Santa Barbara Martinez Town. So last year I was able to get a grant to take some of my photography students out for a day with Cottonwood Gulch, their outdoor education organization. So they took us out on a day trip up to the Albuquerque open space, and it was just basically a photography trip. So students had a chance to kind of photograph out in the wild. And so that, and our end result of that, including some more explorations our students have done, is going to be an exhibit over there at the Martinez Town. So our advanced students are learning about curation. They're going to be learning how to put an exhibit together, how to decide what goes in it, how to mount the show. We are really lucky that we have, we're just in a geographic hub too that helps to have other places nearby that want to work with us.
We've recently had conversations actually with an organization about a potential activation of space. And I think about that, right? Like there's that, even our standards require students to present work and critique it. And I think we oftentimes don't have the appropriate space for that or like an elevated space per se. Yeah, we can put it in the halls or like in front of the office or whatever, these cases that some schools have. But I'm always curious, right? And I'm going to put this out into the universe. I've always thought like it'd be nice for APS to have its own gallery.
Absolutely.
And I think through that have student apprentices and potentially even employ them after they graduate, where they're helping curate and they're helping organize and helping set up community events. And I could foresee that. I know that it's a slow process and change comes slowly, especially in a large district, but I could see that being something that, and I mean, with the support from schools like Albuquerque High, and I think of Trisco Heritage and stuff happening at Volcano Vista. And there's all these schools that are doing these, they're pushing and really helping create foundations for students. So it'd be nice to have a shared space that, again, as for better or for worse, has your white walls and has like the lighting and everything that you would feel like you're in a elevated space. It's more like a museum, more like an official gallery. So if anybody out there knows of a space.
Well, also, City of Albuquerque, we're coming for you too, because there is the new Gallery One space. So we're just coming up against a deadline where they're looking for calls for group shows, but I'm going to keep my eye open for that because my colleagues and I were just talking about that would be a perfect space for us to put student work in. Well.
And that's where I think we were talking before the episode started, and we were saying, like, building bridges, whether it's with UNM or the city or we're all busy. We're all busy, but if we can systemically create these bridges and these relationships that allow that consistent, right? A consistent exchange of shows and support or whatever the case may be. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. And it's tricky, right? Because with schools, we have 2 months of kind of dead time in the summer.
Right.
When other organizations don't.
Right. That is very true.
And some of these shows are a year in advance. Or so it's tricky, the timing, and it's unfortunate because as we know, a lot of that stuff falls on the teacher's shoulders, but the teachers already have enough to do. So it's like, where do we as like resource teachers or kind of people at the district level jump in and kind of help establish some of that? So yeah, there's definitely opportunities, but I think it's timing and it's finding, again, the right connections to build those bridges with the right people.
And I think with this push toward the career-connected learning, it's going to become even more important, I think, because that's where all the stuff of getting out there in the world and showing students like how, I don't have the data here, but of course, New Mexico and even Albuquerque, our creative economy is huge. It's one of our best works. It's one of our most vibrant work sectors. And what students don't get is because they might be like, well, I can't paint. I don't want to be in an art class, but what they don't understand is like, people with automotive skills might be used to do restoration on a public art project. Like there's always work for different kinds of people. Yes, exactly. So we can be kind of training. If students know all the sort of behind the scenes work that goes into art, there's more opportunities for them to be drawn in and to feel like it's for them. I think that's kind of an important aspect of that.
And I'm glad you bring up that aspect because I was just speaking about kind of a vision for what we call Art Mart here in the district. And recently, I mean, it started at Albuquerque High like 6 years ago now? 5-6 years ago?
Right after the pandemic, right?
Yeah. And we're right now at about 8 schools, I think, that are either planning to have an Art Mart or already run an Art Mart. So Art Mart is essentially a pop-up market that allows students to sell their artwork at lunch. And I think you were at Cibola
during when you had some of those. Absolutely,
I think you saw, because I think my favorite student was selling stuff that day. I joke. They would ask me. The kids always ask about, "Oh, do you have favorite students?" And of course you say no, but I did have favorite students. Anyway, I think that's great that you mentioned that because I think the vision for Art Mart would be to establish something either in terms of like curriculum that allows students to grow as like entrepreneurs and potentially even leave high school with a business license. And and if people are interested, in April, we will have our second annual Art Mart at the district level. And I know you guys are probably preparing or have already had one, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, we've had one so far, yes.
Yeah.
And we've kept ours down. We're now doing just one a quarter because we just needed, I think our students needed time to build up inventory. And so we're doing less of them, but they have had a bigger impact. And
So it's interesting because each school has their own variation of it, and that's perfect. Whatever works for their community, and so that's great that you have like the quarterly one. And at Trisco Heritage, I told them recently, I was like, "You guys are insane." They had a 2-day Art Mart, it was like a Wednesday and Thursday. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Like all day or just
it was
at
at lunch? Still
Okay,
at lunch.
Yeah. Okay.
No, all day would have been like,
What?
those kids need to go to class.
They're working.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think in the future, like, again, like I was speaking at the New Mexico conference recently, and that came up. We were talking about Art Mart and just like kind of how it's grown since we last, David at Albuquerque High and I presented a few years back at one of the conferences about it. And we have data. I mean, we have data at the district level from last year.
Great.
And so we talk about like creative economies and these kids are, I mean, we have a one pager that shows that they made 10 grand in an afternoon.
I know. Some of them have really like stuffed their pockets. And I keep telling those students like 30 minutes and some kids have made hundreds of dollars in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's even evolving. The Art Mart is evolving, what people sell, what they make. At our last Art Mart, some students were doing like caricature drawings. So they were doing live drawings and selling those, and which gave me the idea, because I think my photography students haven't quite caught on to Art Mart yet. I don't think they get that they can like, if they have a really good shot, they can just print out multiples of that and sell them. But some of my students talked about wanting to set up like a portrait studio. And so we could do that at Art Mart and then just share the images with them later. So,
or I've seen a gentleman during Art Walk here in downtown take Polaroids of people and just like walk around. It's like $5 for a Polaroid. And so like it's creating again that economy for students to use the skills that they have and reinvest it and eventually like hopefully create somewhat of a business, and not necessarily to be an artist per se long-term, but use their skills to then pay for books in college or gas or food or your rent or whatever. You have these skills that can be used so they don't run into whether it's credit issues because they have loans or whatever, right? Like, so it's using it as a tool and using their skills.
And it kind of demystifies what business is or what entrepreneurship is, right? Like if you've just already done it and you didn't have to study like, oh, what is economics? What's macroeconomics? What's microeconomics? Like they kind of just understand that from doing it. Supply and demand. What's profit? How much money do I get to take home without buying my supplies? And of course, our students are pretty lucky because some of them don't even have, if they're making stuff at school, they've got a little economic bonus there. Pure profit.
And that's why my hope is to now in Art Mart, I guess 2.0, 2.5 is to really help with the financial lit side of things. Yeah. And so my goal right now is working on preparing the next group for year 2 at the district level to have that knowledge of like, okay, your taxes and if you're in a business. And so give them that knowledge, because I don't want them to leave and assume that, oh, I can just go anywhere and just pop up a table and no one's going to charge me a booth fee and I don't have to pay taxes on this. Right now, use this as like a stepping stone, but we also have to inform them, I think, and that's like Art Mart 2.5, 3.0.
Yes. So, remind them this is a bubble and like it's a little different in the world. Yes, it's true.
Ceinwen, I'm curious, like with all that we've been talking about, like, and things that you've experienced, like what are some things you'll take away, I guess, as you enter the classroom?
That relationships are kind of the basis of teaching. I think I came in, even after, my second semester of student teaching, I was lucky I was able to do 2 part-time placements for my student teaching. So the slower pace really has been really helpful for my own growth. That like I was going to come in and, it was fun and like I was going to get them excited and it was going to be, all downhill from there kind of deal. Maybe not that simple, but that really like the slow relationships and that's not something that happens right away. And that's, really like a slowing of that. Real relationships take time to build. Trust takes time to build, both ways. And so like getting to know students, on a personal level is really where the teaching starts.
We just had that conversation earlier today, me and a colleague, and it's so important, the relationship piece, because you can be the most amazing lesson planner and the most amazing, like have the most amazing knowledge of content. But if you aren't reaching kids at that relationship piece, it's really difficult to do any of that. And it changes, right? It like every kid is so different, and even your best kid will come in one day and cuss you out, and you're just like, whoa, where did that come from? And some of the toughest kids, they're the ones that come up with this art piece that you're just like, oh my gosh, where did this come from? So I feel like in my experience, because my background is primarily in secondary, but now in my role, I get to see elementary school kids and everybody. And I feel like the relationship piece is a little easier with younger kids. They're a little more trusting, a little quicker. I mean, I've gone to kindergarten classrooms, and by the time I'm leaving, kids are like hugging me at the knees, like their little arms, and are you going to be back tomorrow? But then with the high schoolers, it's a little, there's a little more kind of like chipping away you have to do. And then, but when you reach them, you'll bump into them 5 years down the road at the supermarket or whatever. And they're like, you're my favorite teacher. And you're like, what? You never talked to me in class. What are you talking about? So it's always awesome. But that relationship piece, like, do you have any like pointers for people, like from what you've taken away, or like things? I mean,
I don't feel like I'm in a position of giving other folks pointers. I'm like just coming into this field, right? Like just entering. So I don't think I'm in a place to like be telling other folks, but I think just like patience and kindness and like, but also like a little bit of like a system, right? Like a little bit of rigidity is helpful. Like students we all need to know like where boundaries are and where like a system of a system in place to give us a sense of security and safety and knowing how to be right in the world.
Yeah. I think as you mentioned kindness and patience, those are exactly what I was thinking of when I think of you.
Oh,
because you have been in my classroom and I've seen you interact with students and you have to find your niche with, you can't like mimic exactly like your cooperating teacher, or you can't you have to find what works for you because kids are the best filter of just like energy and attitude, and they'll see right through you and they know if you're faking it, and they know if you're and they'll call you on it. And so and that's the other thing I've told like younger teachers is don't personalize it. They're going to say things, they're going to like make you feel like you're off, that everything you did was a waste of time, but don't personalize it. Like there's a lot there. It's more than just you. Like there's a lot there that they're coming with, a lot more baggage that we don't see. So
Can I ask a question of Ceinwen? I'm curious if it's okay. Yeah. What has surprised you the most? Is that okay? Can I ask that question? Like, what have you found most surprising about being in the high school teaching and public high school environment?
Yeah. I think the things that like off the top of my head, like those systems maybe more like rules and regulations and those being like really actually helpful. I think I come from this like idea of like, oh, we're just going to be all happy and like I'm going to they're going to be respectful of me because I'm going to like show them respect, but like really like having some boundaries is really and setting clear like expectations. I think has really been that's been a big lesson. So far. And then, what else? Oh, that they are these like budding human beings that are like coming into the world as adults, but they're not adults yet. They're really still children. And I don't mean that in any kind of condescending way, but that, the care that we think of like young children needing is just as like significant in the high school space.
And that's interesting because I don't know if you were there when I read The Dot. Like I had the tendency to read The Dot. This is the book The Dot by Peter Reynolds. And it's about this student, Vashti, and she's like frustrated in art class. And then her teacher tells her just to like paint these dots and she keeps going and then it like grows into this thing. But I would read children's books to my high schoolers because there's lessons in them that I said, we read these to you in kindergarten or first grade or whatever. And then it's like, but these are still lessons that we have to continue to like check ourselves on or remind ourselves of. And so that's interesting, as you say, right? physically they look like they're adults. They're taller than us.
Right.
Some of them
Yes.
had more facial hair than me. But yeah, there's still that checking in. Like they're still growing, and mentally, I think like as much as they seem like they know it all already, like they still need that nurturing. They still need that like either the physical side hug or the mental like side hug where it's there's a lot of that I think that we forget. And I think it's easy to get caught up in the grading and the content and it's just simple things to help our students just feel welcome in the spaces as they enter. So jumping into the next portion of our conversation, we have our pop quiz. So it's going to look a little different because obviously, Ceinwen, you're preparing to go into the classroom. Karen, you've been in the classroom, but I guess I'll reword it as we need it, as I need to. But like our first question then, Ceinwen, I'm going to direct it to you. It's where do you think you would find inspiration, motivation, or the drive to be an educator?
I mean, I think that my kids really like being a parent is where like I came in I had enough investment to be an educator, or really got my investment as an educator, because being a parent, you are invested in not only your own children's lives, but all children's lives, right? Yeah.
Awesome. And then I guess the same question to you, Karen. Where do you find inspiration, motivation, or drive?
Honestly, I think what inspires me and maybe motivates me the most as a teacher is all the learning I have to do. And I think that both it inspires me and gets me excited about what I get to teach next. Like just going down those rabbit holes, I think I'm going to share a lesson with them about this style of photography or whatever. And then just kind of doing that work. And then even when students have questions, like, could I try this thing? Like that's just when it kind of has its own legs, when it really starts going on its own, that's what really inspires me. Like, awesome. Setting something up where it's just humming and we're all learning.
So I'm going to give you the second question then, Karen. What is a tip or trick you can share with other teachers when working with English language learners?
Okay, well, that's a good one because I struggle with other languages. I can understand Spanish fairly well, and I'm a little choppy in it. But one of the main things I think is to not be afraid to try to speak it. Like even if you are not good at Spanish, you can get out your little your pocket translator, and just try it anyway. People always appreciate you trying. So I'd say that grouping people together helps in a subtle way so that it's not too segregated, I guess, but people just help each other naturally. Again, just not being afraid to just be clunky about it. And you showed me some tips and tricks before too, like translating videos as they're going or turning on the translation when I'm talking so that they can see what I'm saying in translation in real time. So awesome. Just like is throwing everything up in the air and seeing what works. Also sort of visuals, in different languages, but also just photographs of things helps a lot.
Ceinwen, what have you picked up that you think you could use with English language learners?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely second everything that Karen said. I think that it's easy to feel like my Spanish is really not very good. It's really easy to feel like embarrassed and that it's just easier just to not try. But like that effort goes so far. And it also then opens up this opportunity, like there's the silver lining that opens up this opportunity to make a stronger connection with that student because you take more time, you sit down, and those are some of like my favorite relationships I've been building in the classroom. And then it also gives me a chance to like get a little bit better, right, at my own speaking abilities.
That's great. All right, next question, Ceinwen. What is a tip or trick that you can share with other teachers when working with students with IEPs?
I mean, for me, I think that like getting to know the student, right? And finding out what the challenges are so that you can like design things to work around that, but also finding out what their strengths are and what their interests are. Yeah.
I think that's huge. Yeah. Coming from an asset-based approach as opposed to a deficit. Yeah, that's awesome. There's my awesome counter.
How many
is
are
that,
we
Patrick?
up to? So same question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tips and tricks for IEPs.
Yeah, I would say like I take note of which students have one at the beginning of the year, but I don't get too deep into it yet until I really need to, until I need to know something else particular. But it's more about like getting to know them and what they can do. And then if a student is having struggles, then I might go back in and look at the IEP and see like, okay, is there an accommodation for this that I'm missing, or have they gone through this before? And then of course, if I'm going to an IEP meeting, I'll definitely look everything over. But yeah, I try to sort of keep that in the background unless it's part of something I need to dig out. But otherwise, I'm just trying to figure out who they are on their own. Because as you know, an art class is an inclusion class. So everybody's kind of the same and everybody has accommodations. I'm pretty flexible with deadlines. Even students work at different paces, no matter who they are. So everybody kind of gets accommodations.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Next question is, what has been a highlight project or activity that you're most proud of?
Ooh, this is a tough one. Who do you want to answer this first?
You can
Should I
answer
start?
first.
Okay,
Yeah.
gosh. I mean, I was pretty proud to have written some grants and got grant money last year because I've never done that. That's really just about me. But getting to bring new things to the students is really exciting about that. And this is just an everyday thing. But whenever we take students out of the class, I feel like that is huge. Like if I can take them on a field trip, if we've brought students here before, or even just taking students out for a photography walk off campus for our long class period, it always elevates the whole sort of all of our relationships because we've had a chance to spend time together outside of here. They see me as more of a regular person. I see them as more of a regular person. And I feel like especially with photography, I think that really helps to just get out there in the world. But gosh, I'm proud of everything they've done.
Yeah. Ceinwen, what are you proud of so far? Highlight project or something that you've done with students, or maybe even in your own learning at UNM?
So the cyanotype project that we did with our Photo 1 classes and a little bit with the advanced classes as well, it came kind of out of a project that I also got to do on a different kind of level last semester when I was working with Amadeus Mateo at Mountain Mahogany, excuse me. Anyways, so it felt like an extension of my own work, my own capstone work. And so making those connections was really like personally meaningful for me as kind of connecting being an artist and a teacher and a researcher. And it was also a way of kind of connecting conceptual ideas in the classroom in a really approachable way. So I felt really proud about that one.
It's always fun when you have like a project that you've invested time in or spent like kind of like your brain matter figuring out or in your own practice. And then when you're able to apply it like with students, it feels so good. Like,
because also they see they get more out of it because they see it coming from you. Yeah. They know you're really into it.
Yeah, that's great. So who has been a student that has made you a better educator? So I don't know, maybe, do you have anybody in mind, Ceinwen?
I'm not going to name names, but I'm thinking back to the English language learner kind of prompt from earlier, and just thinking about like being like challenged by having to push a little bit farther to figure out how to communicate and how to make the lesson accessible, and also being able to like make a connection with those students. Yeah.
I think, and I love what you guys have said, because you don't have to know it all as a teacher. You just have to try. Mm-hmm. And that goes a long way. Kids will respect you so much for simply trying, acknowledging. And I remember a few times students being like, you're the only teacher that like has tried to speak Spanish to me or whatever. Right. And it's a simple, like, way of just trying to connect. You don't have to be perfect at it, but yeah. Okay. What about you, Karen?
I would say I'm actually thinking back to my very first year. I'm thinking of a moment. So Jafrandria, this is a student I had my very first year at Albuquerque High who was very, she challenged me. As you know, I was a new teacher. She knew I was new, and she kind of, she just was sassy, talking back, and we worked it out like that. And I have a few of those students. I had another student another year who was like, "Can I get out of this class? I want to drop out of this class." And I was like, "Well, you probably can, but you're doing really well. And like, let's just stick it out." And, he stuck it out through the end of the year. We became school friends. We always say hi to each other now. And so I think it's those students who just make you question, like you think what you're bringing to them is so interesting and you have no idea what they're coming with. And so those students who force you to kind of find a different way in for them is, I really appreciate them because they just kind of, wake you up and make you realize, okay, they act like they don't want to be served, but they need to be served too. So how can I keep them in here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say my most challenging students teach me the most. Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger teacher self?
That's a good one. I would say for me, because I was for many years ambivalent about becoming a teacher. I wasn't sure I wanted to become a teacher. And I think what I would tell myself now is to trust my instincts. Like maybe those not sure instincts were right, but now I'm here doing it and it's one of the most challenging and fun jobs I've ever had. So even with those feelings of ambivalence, I feel like I would tell myself, trust your instincts. Like they're probably right. And that's going to make you need to do some problem solving and figure some stuff out. But that's the challenge. It's, so I would tell myself to trust my instincts, I think.
What would you tell your future yourself?
You'd have to come back to me in a couple of years on that one. I feel like I'm just starting. So yeah, I'm at that starting point. Yeah.
Is there something that you feel like you would like say Ceinwen in 5 years? What is something that you would want to tell yourself?
To like keep going, I guess. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it's like a matter of building confidence, right? Like maybe like that's like a secret of teaching that you don't want our students, or I don't want the students to know that I'm like not always feeling super confident, but that's like part of the growth process, right? For all of us.
And I think part of trusting our instincts is knowing that the students can handle whatever we give. Like we need to hold them to a higher, we need to hold them up higher. And sometimes I think when we get into teaching and when things just get into that groove and everybody wants something from you, it's so easy to be like, well, they are not going to be able to do this because they haven't shown me they can yet. But and I'm learning from you to not let myself go to that place and to realize like they can do what we expect of them and we should expect a lot of them. And they can, like, let's raise them up. Let's raise the bar so they can meet it, I guess. And they might not always, but we need to do it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
High expectations. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your responses. We are going to play a little game now. We've been adding a game segment into our episodes. So, Patrick, I might need your help in a little bit. You're going to have to pick something for us. But we're each going to get a clipboard with a piece of paper on it. And then we will get a card. Patrick's going to choose the card. Based on the card that is chosen, that person will assign a drawing utensil to the other two people and then also choose their own. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the age-old practice of a blind contour drawing.
Oh, nice.
Boy.
So the person with the card also gets to
I'll
decide
leave my glasses off.
who
for
draws
this.
who. So there's your one.
Okay, here, I'll pass this.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. And then I will give you a card. So I don't know if it's that one. All right. And then, so we have an
looking at the card?
ace. Don't say anything just yet. We have an ace, a 2, and a 3. So Patrick, you're going to choose an ace, a 2, or a 3. Ace is going to serve as 1. And then so depending on what Patrick chooses, that's the person that gets to decide the utensils. You want this one? Or you could just shout it out. It doesn't matter. Ace, 2 or 3.
I was gonna say, let's go with 2.
Okay. So who has?
Okay.
Oh, I have the 2.
You have the 2?
Okay.
All right. So let's see. So we have a variety of Sharpies,
Attention museum visitors.
and our
We'll be
Sharpies.
closing in 10 minutes.
We don't need to
At
worry
this
about
time,
that.
Please start making your way to the front exits. Thank you.
We can leave that in the episode.
Because that's such a trigger for me. Like I'm already sitting here thinking like, we're gonna get out of here.
We learned that it's on a timer. So like that's happened before when we've been here, and we're like, oh, we got to get out of here, and they're like, oh no, don't worry, you're fine. Yeah. So we have a variety of Sharpies. So I'm gonna challenge myself. So I'm gonna use our giant guy right here, and then I will have you with gold,
Okay.
and then Ceinwen, I'm gonna give you a fine coin.
Okay.
All right. So how about this? I will draw Karen. Karen
Okay.
will draw Ceinwen, and then
I draw you.
you draw me.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Let's see. Does it
Patrick,
matter
you're gonna
which
be
way?
our timer. I need a minute. So whenever you're ready, Patrick, we'll start drawing each other.
Okay.
And then again, it's a blind contour. So for those of you that are watching or listening, blind contour just means you're looking at a subject matter and you're not looking at your paper or your pen or your drawing utensil, and then you try capturing everything in one line. So you cannot pick up your line or your pen or whatever you're drawing with. All right, Patrick, whenever you're ready, let us know.
Okay, you guys ready?
We're
Yes.
ready.
And go. Seconds left.
Y'all are about to find out why I'm a photographer and a designer and not a painter, drawer.
25 seconds. $15. 10. 5.
Sorry, Karen.
2. time.
Oh boy.
So this I shouldn't have used this Sharpie.
Sorry,
That's
you
too
don't have
big.
eyes.
Renee, you don't have a fully closed head, so
Oh, that's okay. My wife would say it looks
pretty
just like
much-
me.
A mouth and a nose.
well, yeah, that's quite good actually.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to point him to like one of the cameras? We'll just do that.
Okay.
That was fun.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, and yeah, good luck as you wrap up your studies, and
Thank you so much.
good luck as you wrap up a semester. It's already going to be, it feels like December.
Oh,
so
yeah. I'm already at that place where I'm like, how am I going to fit it all in? So I guess that's a good problem to have.
yeah.
Other than
Yeah.
wondering every day what you're going to do. So,
Well, thanks.
yeah,
again.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Yay.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Plática de Práctica. Plática de Práctica is brought to you by the support of Albuquerque Public Schools Fine Arts Department, APS Education Foundation, and Albuquerque Museum. Plática de Práctica is recorded, mixed, and edited by Patrick Bear. It is produced and hosted by me, Renee Palomares. We appreciate you listening. Take care. Until next time.